Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you know me, you know that I love Star Wars. Star Wars is one of my favorite things of all time, and I've talked about this before, back when Obi-Wan Kenobi came out. And as a fan, I can tell that the franchise itself isn't doing too hot. Star Wars fans are becoming very frustrated with the franchise, with the new projects coming out and the news coming out. It seems like everything that Disney puts out lately pisses off somebody. But I'm here to ask the question, is Star Wars dead? Has the damage that's been done to the franchise since the sequels just gotten to the point where it's irreparable? Recently, news came out that Dave Filoni has taken over as Chief Creative Officer. While I've already voiced that I think that's a perfect role for him and it's definitely a step in the right direction, there's a lot of fans that don't quite agree with that. They would rather to see him completely gone from the picture. In some people's eyes, Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, and Kathleen Kennedy are all the problem with Star Wars. Now, I got to admit, there is a little bit of merit to that. If we look at the track record that these guys have, it's not perfect. It's not anywhere near perfection. While I really liked Mandalorian Season 1, Season 2, a lot of the other Star Wars projects haven't been that banger that the franchise needs. Now, while I really like Dave Filoni's work in the animated area of Star Wars, such as Clone Wars, even Rebels, I didn't mind Rebels. Tales of the Jedi is a standout, and there's a season 2 of Tales of the Jedi, which I'm very excited for. Bad Batch, I haven't really gotten hooked on. Like, I watched season 1, season 2, I didn't even finish it. And his transfer to live action has been met with mixed reviews. So in that aspect, I totally understand if you've never watched any of the animated stuff and you've only seen his live action work, you would kind of be a little bit worried with Dave Filoni stepping into such a big role. But like I've said, I definitely think this is a step in the right direction. The one thing that Dave Filoni really does have going for him is he's one of the last people to work shoulder to shoulder with George Lucas. He was trained by George Lucas. Everything about the Star Wars universe, this guy learned from George Lucas, which is much better than anything that we have right now. This guy knows the lore, he knows the characters, he knows the universe, arguably better than anybody else out there working at Lucasfilm right now. So having him in this role where he gets to be a part of projects before they even start filming is a plus for me. But is that enough? Let's ask ourselves, what is the problem with Star Wars? Now, my very first initial thought is Disney Plus. We haven't had a Star Wars film in years. It's all been Disney Plus content, and I gotta be honest, the Disney Plus stuff hasn't been knocking it out of the park with Star Wars or with Marvel. To put it bluntly, the Disney Plus content is mid, and the fans are tired of it. I mean, the last good Star Wars movie that we had was Star Wars Rogue One, and honestly, not everybody liked that movie either. To me, it's grown on me a lot, and I think that Rogue One has become some of the best Star Wars that we've gotten. It feels like Disney really wanted to push this streaming platform. They put so much pressure on these creatives to get this product out, these shows out. And while The Mandalorian Season 1 was really good, Mandalorian Season 2 I think was not quite as good, but it was still very good. Then you started to really feel it with The Book of Boba Fett, with Obi-Wan Kenobi, which should have been the biggest project they've ever had. But for some reason, it felt half-baked, it felt rushed, it felt, it didn't have the love that a lot of other projects have had. Now, I want to take a look at something you get when you have a love and passion for the project that you're making. You have the money behind it, you have the creatives that are able to, you have people who are all equally passionate at working on this, and it's not put out just to make money. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse. This is what you get when you have people who care about the project that they're making. Star Wars doesn't have this right now. Star Wars feels like it doesn't have a clear direction to go. It kind of just feels like they're putting stuff out there just to see what sticks. And honestly, the fans are getting tired of it. The fans want Star Wars to be great. They want Star Wars to be perfect. And unfortunately, that's not what we're getting. And we're really starting to see it with shows like Ahsoka. Ahsoka was a good 8 out of 10 for me. You know, it was a good show, but it wasn't perfect. It wasn't the banger that Star Wars needed. It wasn't the absolute masterpiece that the fans wanted. They wanted a little too much from a simple show of arguably a side character, Ahsoka, and her adventure there. They want this to be the thing that brings all the fans together. It just wasn't that. And that's unfortunate because it feels like it could be. You bring a fan favorite character back, you bring in a fan favorite villain, you bring back legacy characters such as Anakin Skywalker. You have all of the ingredients to make something like outstanding, but we get something just okay. Now, what's the solution to this? I don't know, make good stuff. I mean, really, if you think about it, Star Wars needs a banger. Star Wars needs perfection. If you look at the 2 Spider-Verse films, that's exactly what Star Wars needs. They need really good films. Stuff that shows the love and passion that people have for this universe. There are fans that are so upset because they live and breathe this stuff. There's people who have tattoos of Star Wars. There are people who base their lives around this. They go to huge events, spend lots of money and lots of time creating cosplay for this. They collect figurines, they collect Legos, they collect the merchandise. This is their favorite thing, and we're not feeling that from the people creating it. So I think that they just need to really buckle down and give us a good trilogy. Figure out a way to unite the fans and not divide them again. You know, I already talked about how there's going to be a Rey movie, and Taika Waititi, who I really respect his indie work, but his work underneath Disney isn't outstanding. Thor Ragnarok was pretty good, but I've only watched it once. I haven't felt the need to go watch it again. Star Wars, I can watch Star Wars movies over and over. We need that. One good film isn't going to be enough to save the franchise. You know, if that were true, people would argue that, you know, the franchise was saved with Andor, which I still need to watch. I just haven't felt the urge to watch it. But you need multiple really good projects. One comment that I see a lot is that people want Star Wars to have a Game of Thrones type show, which when I first heard that, I was kind of like, no, it's Star Wars, it's not Game of Thrones. Like, those are completely different. But I thought about it and I really understand where they're coming from, because I've been reading Game of Thrones recently and the writing is amazing. It is top notch. Like, it's so compelling. The world building, the lore, all of it is just, it's really good, and that's exactly what fans want. That's what we need. We need Star Wars writing to be that good. At Lucasfilm, they need to find these really passionate and good writers, and they need Dave Filoni to teach them the universe, to teach them what these character motivations are, what their flaws are, the rules of the universe, of the Force. And that's why I think Dave Filoni is in the perfect position going forward. But I don't know when we're going to see the effects of that, because there's a lot of Star Wars stuff already in the works, and I don't know how long he's been kind of in this role. You know, how much of a factor has he played in the creation of a lot of these projects, such as the Rey movie. Which, moving on to my next point, if the Rey movie flops, we're going to be in trouble. This movie has to be good. It has to be. It has to be at least a 9.5 out of 10. The fans simply just won't accept mid anymore. And they shouldn't have to. You know, not every project is going to be everyone's cup of tea. Look at Andor. Not everybody loves Andor, but the people that do love Andor say that it's the best thing Disney has put out. But I think if we're all going to pay a bunch of money to go see the first Star Wars movie in theaters since, like, the sequels, I can't remember if Solo came out before or after the Rise of Skywalker. But regardless, this is going to be the first movie we see in a long time in the theaters. We're going to take time out of our day and pay money to go see this movie. it better be freaking good. In my opinion, they should not have their first movie be a Rey movie. I have my own opinions on where I think Star Wars should put their focus, and I might make a separate video on that. Comment below if you'd like to watch that. But again, I'm hoping that it's good. I never want Star Wars to fail. I just don't have a lot of faith in it. And I made a previous video talking about what the Rey movie might look like. Go check that video out and let me know what you think. Star Wars isn't dead yet. There's still hope. There will always be hope. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your dream Star Wars project looks like. And until next time, may the Force be with you. God, that was so crazy.